Admiral Watley calls Deep Space Nine a floating bicycle wheel. Jake was a little worried that he overcooked the link to roast, and Captain Sisko and Cassidy Yates run off together on an adventure to find Bahala. No? Hey, everybody, welcome to the Seventh Rule with Cirroc, Lofton.
What's up? What's up? Bahala.
I thought you were going to save me on that one, but you did not. You let me just hang there, just all by myself.
I was not expecting that. That was not how I thought it was going to go down. So
yeah. Sorry about that, everybody. Thanks. My name is Ryan T. Husk. Today we're doing a review of Deep Space Nine's Season 5, Episode 10, Rapture, story by L.J. Strom, written by Hans Beimler, directed by, well, what do you know? We were literally just talking about him, Mr. Jonathan West. How you doing?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Nice. Mr. Jonathan West, huh? I didn't even see that he was the director on this one.
Yeah, and he just did a couple weeks ago, he did for us Trials and Tribulations. Well, not for us, for the world, for all of us.
For the world, yeah. No, he's really cool on this one. There were a couple of shots that I liked. One of them was from the overhead view of the obelisk, kind of looking down on Sisko.
Interesting, yeah.
I like that shot while he was kind of meditating there. Cool shot.
It kind of gives you this weird, almost like a discombobulation kind of, like you just different certain angles and different angles give you different feelings, you know, like if you're shooting up at somebody, it makes them seem like more ominous or, you know, intimidating, and then shooting from like that angle gives you like this strange disconcerting kind of feel, you know. It's a good way to do it.
Yeah, it gives like this perspective, like you have this overlooking perspective that kind of gives an out-of-body experience.
Yeah.
Out-of-body feel to it, or maybe just watching as an observer. It just gives a different kind of feeling from the audience point, right? It just hits a certain nerve there that adds to the context of what's happening and the kind of strangeness of the moment and what we're catching and witnessing here. This episode I really did enjoy, though. There were a few instances where I felt like they could have taken a little bit further, because it did feel like, it felt like to me like a Indiana Jones episode, like one of those, you know, treasure hunts. So, you know, DS9, I don't know about you, but that was the feeling I got. Like the treasure hunt movies that we watched, the Indiana Jones, I think Nicolas Cage did the treasure hunt movies, National Treasure, I think it was called.
Yeah, National Treasure, yeah.
So these kinds of, I love those movies, by the way. So this is one of those kinds of movies, shows that I felt like, oh, wow, this is really a puzzle and it's a treasure hunt. And I thought they could have made a little bit more out of that.
Right, yeah, and this kind of had that situation that we've seen a few times before in episodes where it felt like there was too much story to be crammed into 42 minutes or 45 minutes. So you kind of miss out on a little bit of each story. Like the entire episode could have been about this treasure hunt thing, and it seemed like it was going to be, but then it kind of veered into Bajoran politics, and it was almost like two episodes. It was almost like two things that should have been A plots or A stories, you know. But I definitely thought of you when he started searching for and eventually finding Bahala, because I don't know, man, that just seems like these are the kind of things that didn't hit me the first time I watched it. First time I watched it, I barely remember it. But when I watched it now, I'm just like, God, can you imagine how cool that would be if we found this ancient city, this, you know, whether it was, you know, this icon or this religious center or just a historic city that was 20,000 years old, and we've always been looking for it, and we finally found it. Like, can you imagine how significant and interesting that would be, and everybody, and so I actually got that feeling when they did that. I was like, wow, this is a big deal, and not just for, you know, the religious nature of the Bajorans, but just in archaeology and history, like looking back at a page in history. I don't know, man, that would just seem like, and I wish we could have spent more time on that, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I think I can give an example of the kind of city that you're talking about, Atlantis.
It's funny because I thought you would actually bring that up too. That's so weird.
Yeah. So, you know, Atlantis has been talked about. It was documented in one of the old
Socrates
scholarly work. Was it Socrates?
It was either Socrates or Plato. It was one of those two.
Well, I think it was Socrates that detailed in his writings about seeing Atlantis and how it was more remarkable than Egypt, and you know how amazing it was. So yeah, it would be like finding Atlantis, because we've been looking for it for only like 20,000 years now, right? Or 10,000 years. So it's like, hey, it would be nice to find it. And that was a good joke that they had in this episode where Admiral Watley was like, so we've been looking for this thing for 20,000 years and you found it in 2 days, right?
Yeah.
It was a nice little play, but there's a lot of stuff there that they played upon. I mean, the obelisk, for example, this obelisk that has this message encoded inside of it, which Sisko is plagued and has to, you know, figure out. There could have been more involved with that, maybe riddles. Yeah. Maybe the prophets coming in visions and showing him little things here and there, and they could have delve into the dream state that he was in. They seem to have gone into his prophetic dream states a few times with the prophets. I thought they could have went into his mind and his psyche at some point to kind of see him maybe being guided by the prophets or having conversations with the prophets. I was kind of anticipating that more so than just watching him kind of stare at this thing and him internalizing the thought process. I kind of wanted to be involved with the thought process more, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. And this has happened again a couple times before, where it feels like either this is 2 different episodes because there are 2 interesting stories that really neither one should take a B plot, a backseat to the other one, or it should be a 2-part episode. But I think that, look, it's not on a big enough scale to be a 2-part episode. So I don't know what the solution is, but what we had was a really interesting story that, I wish we could have seen more of. I hadn't thought of going into Sisko's mind. I was thinking just more, like this treasure hunt, like following the whole time. I mean, he found it pretty quickly and easily, and he's like, Cassidy, let's go on an adventure. 2 minutes later, they're back. They got everything's cool. By the way, when Cassidy comes back, welcome back, Cassidy. Like, we could talk about that a little more. That was so great. When she comes back after 6 months in prison, and the first thing he says is, hey, you free the next few hours? He goes, what do you do in the next few hours? I was like,
Yeah, I didn't think they would be in a cave, that's for sure.
She's like, what do you have in mind? He's like, oh, go climbing in some dirt. Oh.
Yeah. Not exactly the best welcome. And that was another plot line that really got swept under the rug in the episode, right? This is kind of a big deal. This is his love interest. She went away for doing something really, questionable, and they could have went into the psychology of the 2 of them having to bridge this relationship, and and having to deal with whatever fallout of having been incarcerated. But they didn't go into that as much. They really swept that under the rug and made it way beyond the B plot, like a C or D plot.
Right.
Like,
can you imagine if they extended the treasure hunt portion where they're climbing through the caves and stuff, and all of that comes out and develops as they're doing this adventure together?
Exactly. Yes. And that's where I feel like they missed an opportunity to give me more of what was inside Sisko's mind.
Yeah.
Him being trapped in his mind and not really voicing out what he was feeling. I wanted to see what he was feeling. So maybe, yeah, I think that would have been great. The two of them maybe getting trapped in a certain area in the cave, and, you know, you brought me here and this and that, this is your fault, and none of this would have happened for this and that. And then maybe have a little bit more of an argument, you know, that could have maybe led to them finding this cave. But it was like, oh, right beyond that wall, bing. I'm like, they looked for this thing for 20,000 years. They couldn't find. The guy had one phaser blast to the wall, and that was all it took. You know, it was like, maybe expanding upon that more. They mentioned, for example, the alignment of the stars and certain things. So maybe it could have been about a certain day and time. And, you know, at one point, the reflection of the light and this would cause the passageway to open, something to that extent. Right?
And they have
just seemed real.
I was just going to say, they have had episodes like that in Star Trek, you know, where the entire episode is like you call it, like a treasure hunt. Like it's a mystery where they're figuring it out. There's the Indiana Jones. They've definitely done this before. And I'm trying to remember if Deep Space Nine has ever done one full. I guess, yeah, the Sword of Kahless was very much like that. It was a little bit less about the hunt and more about the overall adventure of finding it and then escaping, and just the whole, you know, that was very Indiana Jones. But I don't know, other than that.
Yeah, because you know, from it being about this Bajoran mystical thing, mystical place that was hidden for all these years. Okay, that's a huge storyline in itself. And instead of going in deeply into that, it felt like they touched upon it a little bit. They touched upon a little bit of this. They touched upon a little bit of that. Was the overarching story to tell you about the decision that Sisko is making to sacrifice his life in order to obtain this divine knowledge, right? Yeah. And to me, ultimately, it kind of boiled down to that, right? Sisko said that he wanted to sacrifice his life, that it didn't matter to him whether he lived or died, as long as he got to this spiritual enlightened place, like where we imagine Buddha or Jesus or all of these people who have reached some level
David Copperfield,
the people that have reached a certain level of enlightenment, we expect that he's searching for that in this episode. And ultimately, they made it more about whether he was willing to sacrifice his life for that or not, for that moment, to obtain the information, to get to all the answers of the universe, you know, within his grasp. And that strayed a little bit away from me from where, you know, the significance it had to the Bajorans, the significance of just the treasure hunt itself and unlocking the mystery, maybe having more riddles involved, and, you know, maybe a key word somebody says, and so, oh, that word made me remind me of what I saw in my dream, and it's all coming together. So I felt like they could have expanded upon the mystery of the treasure hunt, which I feel is always an interesting story in general. That's why I watch all the Indiana Jones movies, because it's fun. And
there's another one coming, by the way. There's another one coming. I don't know if you've seen the pictures.
There is?
Yeah, there are pictures of Harrison Ford on set with the hat, like the Indiana Jones hat. He's dressed up like the old days. So looking forward to that.
Well, if he gets any older, they're going to be looking for him in the archaeology underneath the ruins.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought Shia LaBeouf was the
I guess that's maybe later, or maybe he's in this one. But yeah, if he gets any older, they're going to call him Pangea Jones. Am I right? No. Maybe. No. That's like a 3 or 4. Hey, but everybody in the live chat, let us know in or in the comments below other Star Trek episodes that have been all about, you know, a treasure hunt or the adventure, the Indiana Jones kind of thing, you know, kind of like we said, the Sword of Kahless, There was also the Gambit 1 and 2 in Next Generation, although that was only at the end that it kind of went into that direction. But there have been others. And so let us know in the comments your favorite ones or ones we may have forgotten. But yeah, Cirroc, I mean, we keep touching on all these different things and I want to hit them all, but I'm trying to pick which one I want to jump on. I guess the one I want to jump on right now, since you mentioned it, like the conflict of, you know, living or dying and having these things, these visions, because it's got to be this really intense, it's almost like an addiction. Like once you become enlightened, can you imagine, like you could almost not bear to go back down to not being enlightened anymore, you know? And there was a moment, we're skipping ahead, but at the end, when Sisko is on the bed and everybody's trying to figure out what to do, and Kira's like, fuck him, let him die, like let him, you know, I want these visions. And I forgot how it ended. So my first thought, I even type it in, I said, whoa, dude, Jake needs to step up in here, step in here. Like they're all trying to decide. Jake needs to be like, excuse me, Doc, you're saying that you can save his life right now? Yeah. Okay. Shut up, guys. Yeah, do that. Like, you know, what do we even have this conversation? And then and then of course, then Bashir says that it's up to him. And I'm like, yep. And I don't know. It was just like, it was a fun moment for me because I'm like, you guys need to relax. Jake's right there. It's his call. And it's obvious what his call is. Give me a break. There's no contest.
It's not even a question, you know. It actually reminded me of the episode where Jake was possessed by this vampire lady and she was sucking his brainwaves as he was writing.
The muse, yeah, she was sucking them in.
Yeah, but Jake had the same feeling that Sisko has, which is, I'm in the zone. You know, let me get in the zone. I don't care if I die. I don't care what happens. I'm in such a zone right now. I'm in the Zen moment. I'm willing to, you know, this is so important to me. I have to get all of this out. And to me, it's like Sisko falls victim to that same desire of, man, I'm in this zone and, you know, I don't want anybody to touch me. Just let me be. Even if I die, it's worth the sacrifice. And, you know, that's what the appeal is for having access to this kind of power that's superhuman. When you feel like you have superhuman powers, you're almost willing to do anything to keep them. But it feels like Sisko actually steps into the role of the emissary really heavily in this episode. That could have been another highlight of this episode, another plot line that could have been expanded a little bit more upon, which is he's really embracing his emissary role in this episode. They didn't really hit that point too hard either.
Even after the surgery removes all of that from him, he is fully claiming this emissary mantle at this point. You know, when he says, yes, you know, are you doing this, saying this as a officer or as the emissary? And he says, well, first he flashes that $1 million smile and then he says both. And yet that you're right, that shows that he is now perfectly fine being called the emissary, because he's like, that's clearly why I'm here, what I do. I mean, he might pass it off if he can still, but he clearly, this kind of situation changed him. You know, I mean, who wouldn't be changed by this?
Yeah, he definitely was changed by it. But, you know, they gave me a bunch of little nuggets of things that I liked a lot. It just didn't give me enough of it, you know? So I know I'm being really critical of it. I still watched the episode really excited about it.
Critical for the right reasons. It's because you liked all of the elements and you wanted more of them. Right. I get it. Yeah. I feel the same way.
I like the elements. And I don't know how much time we have left, but I did want to get a little bit into Kai Wynn and her presence on this show.
Yep, and that was a very interesting. It was a very interesting new page in the Ballad of Kai Wynn, wasn't it?
Yeah, because I never knew this guy existed. And this
I know.
was kind of the first time.
We didn't know whether to trust her. We're like, is she lying? Is she lying? The whole time, nope, she wasn't lying. She was just, it was as if Gul Dukat just shows up to help. And you're like, okay, what's really it? What's the thing? And then you just through every single scene, he's still helping. And at the end, he's like, okay, bye guys. And we're like, what?
The whole time I'm thinking this is going to go bad. She's got an ulterior motive. There's something she wants. She's setting Sisko up. I didn't trust her the whole time.
Yeah.
And then she gives this phenomenal kind of address to Kira.
Yeah.
Where she breaks it down to her like, I'm on the same side as you. I've suffered just as much as you've suffered, if not more. Yeah. And I kind of like felt bad for
Watch your mouth.
I know, it's kind of crazy. I don't want to say it all the way. But I feel bad for passing such critical judgment on her all of this time. Because I have been critical of her. I do think she walks around with this arrogance, and she does talk to people in a very condescending manner. So I'm not going to take those things back. She has been condescending, she is arrogant, and she is also self-centered and interested in her own elevation in politics and her career or whatever. So I'm not going to take away those things about her. But what I will add to those things, and I will weigh it in as I make judgments on her character, I will weigh in the fact that she has fought for her people. She struggled alongside her people.
That's the word I was thinking too. Yeah. She has gone through the struggle as much as anybody.
She has gone through the struggles just as much as anybody. And she breaks that down to Kira. Like, I remember every beating I got. Like, just that alone was like, oh, damn.
Speaking of...
She's not...
I was just going to say, speaking of beating... we are beating the clock and it's time for our break. No, that was terrible. It's time for a super quick break, but we could definitely talk more about that because there's so much good stuff.
It was a good moment.
And we'll be right back on the Seventh Rule. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Seventh Rule with Cirroc Lofton.
Hey, hello.
We are reviewing Rapture, Deep Space Nine, Season 5, Episode 10. Having a good old time talking about it. Real quick, here are the trivioids that may or may not have made the cutting room floor. The city of Bahala is the most important Bajoran icon. Sisko studies a spire in Holosuite 4. Jake was a little worried he overcooked the Linkta roast. Cassidy is released from prison after 6 months. Bajor's petition to join the Federation has been approved. Admiral Watley calls DS9 a floating bicycle wheel, which was funny to me. Sisko is tripping off some good shit in old Holosuite 4. Captain Sisko and Cassidy Yates run off on an adventure to find Bahala. Kai Wynn remembers every single beating, as you just mentioned, she took at the hands of the Cardassians. Sisko says there's no need to worry. The Caterpod harvest will be much better next year. Kai Wynn helps Sisko with the orb of the prophecy. And Jake cooks jambalaya for Cassidy's welcome back party. Definitely want to cover that welcome back party. But Caterpod, the Caterpod harvest, you had a line, Jake Sisko had a line about Caterpods maybe 10 or 15 episodes ago. Do you remember that? There was something with like writing I'm trying to remember it, but you had a line about Caterpods and I don't remember. I was hoping you would remember what it was.
Are you sure it wasn't cattle prods?
Yes.
Okay,
I would remember. Sure. I would remember cattle prods.
Yeah, I don't know what catterpods are. What they do, but it's a harvest, so some kind of plant, right? I guess.
I don't remember if it was when you mentioned it before. It was cooking related. I feel like it may have been cooking related. because I just remember you saying it anyway.
Yeah, no, I don't remember the Caterpods, but I do remember jambalaya being part of the daily routine over at the Sisko family house.
Yes,
so we did get our jambalaya on.
Well, you want to finish up on Kai Wynn, and then we can move on to the Sisko.
Yeah, the only thing I wanted to add to the Kai Wynn thing is, not only that I felt like she seemed a lot more human and personable in this episode, more so than any other time, even though she did open this episode with something, my child, her usual, how did it go? Something, my child. She's always greetings, my child.
Yeah.
Yeah, greetings, my child. And it's like, oh God, the my child stuff. Like, you got to cut that.
That's got to go.
Yeah, seriously. Don't call me that.
It's so funny because when she says my child, she's really saying fuck you. You know what I mean? Like, she's totally.
She might as well just say that, and I'd be cooler with that, But the my child is just like, it's like patting somebody on the top of the head. Like, it's just like, it's so demeaning. But the other thing I was going to add to this is that when Sisko has decided to let Kai Wynn help him, explore his mind and explore these visions that he's having and take him to the orb of prophecy. Mm-hmm. She comes into the quarter while we're trying to have an intervention with him. Penny and my son Jake are trying to have an intervention and like, hey, Dad, what are you doing? Don't do this. This is crazy. And she comes to the door and she's like, are you ready? Are you ready to go? And all this stuff. And Sisko says, yeah, I'm going to go with her. She's going to help me with this thing. And Jake's line I wrote down, which was hilarious, was, and you trust her? Like,
wait, you're going to go with her right now?
Yeah. Since when? And you trust her since when? Which means like Jake doesn't trust her. He knows his dad doesn't trust her, right? Nobody trusts her. But like now all of a sudden you trust her. Like, what'd she do to earn that trust, right? But that just shows once again, and this was another topic of the episode, was faith, right? They brought it up a few times. They talked about faith.
Great line by Worf.
I thought it was a fantastic line, and that was what I wanted to go to next. If you can find that line on faith, I think that summed up the episode as well.
No. It wasn't Worf who said it. It was George Michael. No, it was Worf.
No, it wasn't George. It wasn't George Michael. It was Worf. It was Worf.
I really like. He says, what I believe in is faith. Without it, there can be no victory. And that's part of the depth of Worf, is that he's this warrior, but like all Klingons, he has this deep-seated faith. There are different levels that people have of faith. And with him, it's kind of like it is the root of his being, is like everything goes around his faith. And it's such an interesting aspect to his character because it's not an obvious thing. Warriors aren't known always to be, full of faith, except obviously like back in the day or whatever. And so it's a really interesting, piece of his character.
Yeah, I was going to say, tell that to the Knights Templar, but that's a whole nother discussion.
Right.
But I did like the phrase because the phrase made me ponder and gave me some reflection. Without faith, there can be no victory, right? Mm-hmm. Essentially, that's a paraphrase of what he's saying. And that made me think, like, can you be victorious without faith? And I believe the answer is no. Like, if you don't think you can win, if you don't believe you can win, if you don't believe that you're capable of it, then you can't win. I don't know if it's even possible, right?
Yeah.
So I think there's a certain level of faith that you need in order to be victorious. I think that's absolutely true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because the meaning of faith, when we expand it, it doesn't necessarily mean it has to be religious in nature. what you're talking about is faith in oneself or faith in something, a thing, whether it's a god, whether it's, you know, in nature,
an
whether
outcome.
Yeah,
an outcome.
or it's just faith in yourself. But yeah,
right.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So I thought it was like Worf's way, you know, he used it in his own like fighting militaristic way of victory in battle, but still there was a lot of truth there, and I just like the way it was spoken on.
Hey, do you think when Worf does communion, speaking of faith, that he dips the bread in like prune juice or what? You think?
He
should have done that. Like he said, without faith, there is no victory. But like the bread is like the challah bread, you know?
Challah bread.
A challah bread. That's like the Jewish
and even
bread
and speaking and speaking of that, and just to add to that, that was another thing that Wynn talked about. She was talking about that faith was the basis of her surviving the beatings and overcoming the occupation as well, right? So here we have faith again being kind of tied in through this whole episode. There was Sisko's faith, there was Wynn's faith, you know, and there's the Bajoran people's faith. And I actually like the actor who played Admiral Charlie Watley.
Right.
I thought he was a good actor, and I like the way that he was able to portray some believable authority over Sisko to me. Like I believe that there was a seniority that he had over Sisko that it was believable for me.
You know, I liked him too, but I've never seen him before, I think. But his name is Ernest Perry Jr. It seems like maybe he doesn't have a lot of credits. Let me check. No, I mean 30 on IMDb. Let's see if he's been on any other Star Trek related things. No. So if he hasn't been on any other Star Trek related things, I haven't seen him on anything else because that's all I've seen is Star Trek really. But he's been on shows like ER, Chicago PD more recently. For a while there. He was in Liar Liar. Anyway, so he's had a good career for himself. He was in TJ Hooker, baby. TJ Hooker.
Hey, speaking of TJ Hooker, nice. Yeah, I thought he was a good actor. His voice was good. His command was good. I liked the way he was. Like I said, he came across as an authoritative figure to me. He did come across as somebody who would be like an admiral or, you know, the guy who you'd have to answer to at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the way No,
sorry. I was just going to say there was one thing I didn't like about his character, and that was when Sisko comes up to him and says, you know, your son will forgive you. Don't worry about him. And I was just waiting for him to say, mind your business, punk. Like, you watch your mouth. But he was just like, how'd he know? I'm like, oh, man, I would have wrote, mind your damn business.
Mind your own business. No, there was a little bit of that. I thought that he was a little bit too skeptical of Sisko at some point because, you know, he was aware that the Bajorans look at him as this emissary. So there was a little bit, you know, he's like, oh, let's hurry up and get back. So we just discovered a city that's been missing for 20,000 years. You mind if I spend a couple minutes, like, you know, reveling in my glory of finding this place, you know, and can I enjoy it for a second? He was a little bit of a tight ass about that, you know, like let's hurry back and do this and that. Yeah, but Sisko obviously he did a good job of respectfully checking him and you know getting his way anyways. But yeah, I just felt like some of the internal stuff that was going through Sisko's head, I wish it was more expanded upon for the audience. And I wanted to see him kind of going through this as opposed to just me seeing it from the outside.
Yeah. You know, Now, moving on to the Sisko family, right? When Cassidy Yates returns, I kind of had a similar feeling as to when Nog returned in the previous episode, which was, it was just, you know, getting the band back together again. You know, it's like the greatest hits kind of thing. And remember, at this point in time, you know, in 1996, nobody knew if Cassidy Yates was ever coming back. They didn't say, you know, I think she said, I'll be back, but that, for all we know, she could be in prison for 10 years for what she did, right? You know, so at this point, it's a surprise that she has returned, and a very welcome one. And I was thinking, like, it's really cool, you know, for Jake, because look, he's got his best friend back. He's got his dad's girlfriend back. You know, his dad's tripping balls. Like, Jake's having a blast right now. This is like the best year of his life. He's like, man, this is good stuff. And, you know, really, Deep Space Nine as a whole is growing. The family's growing, right? We have Cassidy and Nog coming back. We have Lita's role expanding a bit. You know, things like that just keep growing more and more and more. But especially this moment here, where there's the three of them kind of deciding as a family and trying to overrule Sisko. And then at the end, when Jake is cooking the jambalaya, I'm like, I am here for this. I love the family scenes. I like seeing them back together. And it's just cool imagining you cooking jambalaya for the family. I just think I could watch that for 45 minutes, honestly. Maybe 30.
Yeah, there was a special moment there. One, I noticed that in the last scene, when Sisko comes back after having the surgery that Bashir needed to perform to get him back normal, Jake is a little hesitant when he sees his dad. I think normally he would have, if his dad, under normal circumstances, if his dad was in a life or death situation like that, and he got his dad back, and he walks in through the door, I think under normal circumstances, he'd run to him and give him a hug and say, "Hey, Dad, you're back. I'm glad you're back," type of thing.
Yeah.
But I noticed the way I played it in this episode, and maybe it was written that way, or I just decided to play it that way. But there was a hesitancy when Sisko walks in the door. Jake feels a little bit like he let his dad down,
right,
by letting him live, right? It's like, I know you wanted to die, or you wanted to, or at least you wanted it to be up in the air.
Sorry, I saved your life, Dad.
Sorry,
Jeez.
I saved your life, Dad. I know you might be mad at me, so you might kill me for saving your life, and there was a little hesitancy there. So I noticed that. I thought that was kind of a good play. But the really good moment that I thought was just beautiful to watch was when, as a family, we all kind of did the football huddle, hands together, holding hands.
Yeah.
And I just liked the close up on the hands. Everybody's holding hands.
Me too.
And I thought it was a special moment. It just that signified, okay, we're a family. We're in this together, and we're going to make it together. I like that.
I wonder if that shot was the director's choice. Was that Jonathan West? I mean, it could have been somehow in the script, but I really like that. I liked it too. It was symbolic. It was simple, but it was three pairs of hands. There's their little family back together again, and I loved it. I thought it was great.
Yeah, and there was like a hand dance going on where she brings my hand to him. We're holding hands, and he grabs her hand and brings it in, and then puts it on top of the hand. So there was like a whole hand choreography.
I was going to say, did you guys have a hand rehearsal?
It must have been, because it looked like it. And I would actually suggest that perhaps Jonathan West did come up with, highlighting that moment, because he did have a couple of separate shots in order to see that, right? So he had a cutaway, and he did have a close-up on just the hand. So whether it was written that way, I'm not so sure, but definitely he decided to bring a whole close-up angle on the movement of the hand. So it was special to him to be able to capture and close up on. So we won't really know until we ask him, but I did like the moment. I thought it just made a nice little magical touch. It was like a nice little ribbon, a nice bow to wrap up on the end of this episode. And it also reminded me of the What We Left Behind documentary, where they brought up the fact that, only Law and Order or one of those shows was the only show that had 2 black main characters or 3 black main characters in the same scene at the same time. You remember they talked about this in the What We Left Behind documentary?
Oh, I remember. Yeah.
Yeah, they basically were saying that.
But now we've got it right here.
TV Guide or whatever it was, they were doing a review of shows in the 90s, and they said that there was only one show that had 3 black characters on at the same time. And they mentioned the show, but they didn't give any credence to Deep Space Nine. Well, we did. We had multiple episodes and multiple scenes with all black cast members or more than one black cast member at the same time. And this just reminded me of that. So I was like, oh, this is another moment that proved whoever said it wrong.
That you guys kept being overlooked.
That hadn't been done. Yeah, we kept getting overlooked. But, at the same time, it is done. It has been done. It was done. We're watching it. And it was special in these kinds of moments. I thought they were special because it shows black family in a kind of soft and intimate way that's not always portrayed on television. And I like that unity and that camaraderie between each other. Thought it was special.
To add to that, we've definitely discussed, about how it showed fatherhood in a positive light, black fatherhood in a positive light, which was great. But showing a family unit of 3 people in this positive light, but not in a homogenous or fake positive light. Like everybody's happy, everything's great, like that. There's no depth there. This is 3 very different characters that bring 3 very, there's absolute depth to it. And, it just would have been a shame to have scenes like that where there wasn't depth and good writing to back it up. And there was, throughout Deep Space Nine. And that I really like that. I really like that they did you guys right. You know what I mean? Like they put you together.
Yeah.
And they wrote good stories for you, good positive stories and intelligent stories. And, that's why I just keep coming back for more.
Yeah, well done. I mean, it was just well done. And, shout out to Penny Johnson because she's such a classy woman and she brings so much grace to the screen.
She acted the shit out of this scene.
Yeah, she just comes in and she's like, she fills up the room, right? She has such a big presence and she's so beautiful and just has so much charisma that she just fills up the room. And I think that, she stepped right back in. We hadn't seen her, I don't know how many episodes it's been, but it's like she never missed a beat, right? She literally just came out of jail and it's like, she doesn't need to shave or a shower. She's just ready to go. And so I just like the way she fits in seamlessly. And yeah, I mean, it's just a good story to show black families getting together, trying to do positive things and not being cast in certain stereotypical lights that are negative and, do more detriment than good.
Actually, speaking of that scene, it's time for the nitpick number 6.
All right. Here it is, ladies and gentlemen.
In this particular scene, the door chimes and Sisko says, "Come in." And Wynn hears them. And they keep doing this in Star Trek. Somebody whispers, "Come in," dramatically, and it's beautiful and it's amazing. But how the hell did she hear him through a closed?
Oh, the science of Star Trek.
The magic of Star Trek.
Yeah, I have no answer for you there. I don't know if it was for her to hear or for the computer to hear. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But I do want to say really quickly, because I know we're running close to the edge, but
yeah.
The idea of these obelisks is actually an ancient one. I like the way Star Trek always borrows from real history. And the obelisks are found in ancient Egypt. They are found in Alexandria. They're found all throughout ancient Egypt. And they're also found in Ethiopia. They're still standing to this day in a city called Aksum, some of these very same obelisks.
Will you be seeing them when you visit Ethiopia?
I will be seeing them, yes.
Nice.
And some of those obelisks, actually, some from Egypt and some from Ethiopia, were removed from their home countries and taken to certain European countries for display, and since been returned. Yeah, it's since been returned. So, thanks to diplomacy on that. But it's also something you can find in ancient Southern American cultures. We also see stuff like the totem pole. So these kinds of obelisk and freestanding stone structures actually have real historic and ancient traditional meanings. I like the way they borrow from that in the show. Most of them are actually decorated with some type of hieroglyphic or some type of writing.
Yes.
Another accurate representation. So they essentially took something that really exists in religion, in historic fact, and expanded upon it and applied it to the Bajoran culture. Another just a subtle but smart way that the writers incorporate the real and the fake, and the science fiction and the fiction. It's a beautiful marriage for me.
Yeah, I really like that they used the Bajorans as a mirror to our own history in a lot of ways, and that being one of them. But it is funny how oftentimes certain things happen in Star Trek when we're watching these episodes that makes me think of you. And these things absolutely did. The spire did, all the things we were mentioning earlier. When I see these things about ancient culture or about finding the lost city or about the spire with the hieroglyphs, I'm like, oh, it's gonna be a fun one with Cirroc. There's only one kind that I'm like, oh dear, and you know what that genre is, and luckily we only had one of those so far.
The Vulcan sex leg. But yeah, I wanted to... No, I'm joking. I just wanted to say though also, I mentioned the point about them using the actual historical facts, and they're really good at expanding upon those kinds of things. But I lost my point. It was right there in my head.
Damn.
But I'll get back to it next time.
Okay.
We'll catch up on the free for all.
We'll hit it on the free for all. And with that, we'll also do the NAM, the non-appearance mention on the free for all. There was one. We do want to give a special thanks to Carmen, aka Skillet, PJ Thomas, TJ Jackson-Bey out in Missouri, Bill Victor Arucan.
Okay.
Yvette Blackmon, Homer Frizzell, Eve England, Dr. Anne-Marie Segal, Dr. Susan B. Gruner, Tim Baum, and Titus Mohler. We'll see you on the other side on the free-for-all. Thank you very much. We'll see you on the other side on the free-for-all. I say it twice now. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the seventh rule. This is the free-for-all, and it is free-for-all number 100. And it's a celebration. And I think, who's going to introduce us all? It's either going to be Eve or it's going to be Homer. Oh, sorry, Eve. Or Heather.
Did somebody go not it? Not
it? 1, 2, 3, not it.
I say Heather.
I know this game.
Okay, Heather, you're up.
Oh, come on. Just pulled me out in the middle of nowhere. I had to check. I am working on getting LASIK, so I can't wear my contacts. So that's why I keep putting my glasses on and off. Just a fun fact.
Heather George, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes. Well, we have with us tonight the ever amazing Ryan and Cirroc, our And of course, Melissa, the host for the day. And we have Dr. Mohamed Noor. We have TJ Jackson. We have Darlena.
Hey.
We have John Rhino Tufarella.
Yeah.
Susan Gruner. Our import from overseas, Eve England.
Yes.
The amazing Cat King.
Aw,
Hey.
Hey.
Homer Frizzell. Did I say that right? I know I say it wrong.
Yep. Nailed it.
Homie.
And I got it right. And of course,
Homie, don't play
myself,
that.
Heather Jordan.
Hey. Now, before we get started, Mohamed, we are going to spotlight you because you guys check out. This is how you do things in style. This guy is joining the 100th free for all, literally sitting on the beach.
Thanks for having me.
And you know he's staring right into the sun, so he gets that good light. So
It's a little bit off to the
Mohamed
side,
giving up
thankfully.
his eyesight
Look
for
at that
this.
beautiful skin.
Sacrificing for us.
He went for the
On the East
team.
Coast.
Little does he know, I'm right down the strip.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, of course.
Speak to
John
each
is
other.
on the beach too. There we go. Hey, John.
Right.
Got it, homie.
There's a little breeze there. So
And
first
Cat
thing.
is stuck in space. We forgot.
Oh
that.
yeah. Let's get Cat. Here we go. Cat,
Yeah,
you're coming
that's
up
right.
next.
Yes, I'm stuck in space. Help.
So real quick, just about this episode, so we can tie the ribbon on this episode. Did anybody notice the one Nam in this episode? It was kind of a little hidden, a non-appearance mention. Did anybody catch it?
Grandpa? Grandpa would be so
Wow.
proud.
Yes.
Mm.
Yes. Nailed it. Good job.
Wow. she
Nice.
got it.
Who is that?
Joseph Sisko gets another
Oh,
Nam.
oh yeah, yeah,
Ah,
that's right.
Jambalaya.
ah,
That's right. He was in there. Yeah.
that's
Because the
right.
jambalaya was fire.
Isn't that the movie that Robin Williams was in? That's a Jumanji joke.
I was like, are you going for Doubtfire, Mrs. Doubtfire? Because you said
I don't think it
I
was
love that
Doubtfire.
Love that.
The jambalaya was no doubt.
Mm,
Yeah.
Jambalaya.
So
You know, that was one of the rare things that was actually what they said it was. So like
Oh.
usually when we're eating stuff, they would just say whatever it was, but it wouldn't really be that thing. But
yeah.
whoever was doing, but the jambalaya was always legit, and I'd be eating the jambalaya, so it was actually it was real jambalaya.
Very cool.
I bet you got
Nice.
disappointed when the ice cream was mashed potatoes on set, huh?
Oh yeah.
Butter.
Oh.
Don't get one of those Dom Jock sticks. They don't taste good, guys. They don't
Mm,
Yeah.
not the
taste
one
like
you want.
gelatin, straight gelatin. It's not a good look.
Oh.
Can you imagine? You're like, oh, there's
It
so
looked
much
good,
food.
too.
You're like, help.
It looks good. It just
I thought it was like a candy
licking a
cane.
wristband.
I
Now,
thought it was a candy apple, like a candy
Yeah.
apple.
no, not even
Something-
That's what,
close.
yeah, that's what you would
No.
expect.
No.
Nothing
It had
like it.
no flavoring or anything. It was just plain old gelatin.
It was literally plastic. It was gelatin.
Oh.
Yeah, it was just a gelatin mold. And so they'd make I'm saying, Cirroc, eat this. I'm like,
Isn't it
Do
maybe
something
like
with this,
sugar rock candy or something?
nothing.
Like, good for you?
No.
No.
It was
You glad it wasn't
Oh,
made
how
back.
you suffered.
Like, can I put some salt on it? Or?
Sugar on that for you.
some powdered sugar or
Some
something.
powdered sugar or
you know.
something.
Yeah.
Rock candy.
Okay, so there was one more
Yeah.
thing that we didn't finish touching upon. Cirroc, you remember you just mentioned the Trekian nomenclature. That is how Star Trek always has, a Jumbalian condor or a Duvardian snail. It's something we recognize preceded by something IAN. And Cirroc, you caught this one, right?
Yeah, this one was an Alvarian beehive, right? Is that what?
Yeah, Albanian beehive. As
Albanian.
busy as busy.
And they like Albanian a lot. I think
Exactly.
Albanian has been used a lot.
It has. Yeah.
I was gonna say that. Yep, you are correct.
Have
So
we
true.
seen anybody from Albania in any of these episodes?
No, and we don't know anything
Can't
about
say
this
that
place,
we have.
but we want
They
to.
just send us all their stuff.
We just steal their food. We're just like in
Exporters.
their planet.
Yeah, they're very good
Yeah.
at export.
Appropriating.
Talk about that. The exobiology animals.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah. Hey, let's
Albanians.
start off with all of our friends that we haven't seen in a while, and catch us up. What's new? What are you doing lately? Do you have any cool new Star Trek clubs? Do you hate Star Trek now? What's new?
Definitely.
What's new? It's okay. We're all friends here. Let's start with who do you think, Cirroc? Who should we start with?
I want to
wonder
know what's
who
up
you're
with
gonna
John Tuparella and Kazon.
Yeah.
Oh,
Get
I
it.
absolutely hate Star Trek. Yeah, it's the worst thing in the world.
I
The last thing
I
you will ever
can-
actually legitimately hear me say ever. No, it's been going. We've been trying to slowly reopen Kazon. We've had a couple days where we've had some people back in the shop. But that's been a slow process. Other than that, we've just been plugging along with the USS Aaron Eisenberg. We've been doing quite a bit as far as a Star Trek club goes. We've had many Zooms and game nights and viewing parties and every other thing I've done. Been involved
actually,
in.
John, I think we should go back and find our 100th Zoom because I think we might be coming up to it.
We're kinda
Already?
like 500. Yeah, no, we do
We're-
a lot.
We're up there.
We do probably combined 13, 14 ship Zooms a month on the low end.
It was 16 this month. No, I'm sorry.
Wow.
That was probably 14 this month because like 2 of them are like not really Zooms. But yeah.
But no, we do quite a bit of stuff. We were involved with the pancreatic fundraiser with Kitty and Armin and Jonathan. They all just joined us on a Zoom. Here, was it 3 weeks ago?
The 22nd of May.
Yeah, so 4 weeks ago. Yeah, but other than that, we just keep doing what we're doing.
Awesome. It's great to see you.
Absolutely, it's good to be.
Well, Heather, since you were chiming in a bit, what's new with you?
Sorry, I am the XO of the Aaron Eisenberg, so I keep track of all the records. So that's why I kept
Nice.
popping in a little bit there. I keep track of all of our meetings, our roster of members, everything. Like the whole thing is my job as the XO. So sorry, but I mentioned earlier I'm working on getting LASIK, so that's fun.
Nice.
They don't let you wear your contacts for up to 3 weeks before because of I guess, changing your eyes. So that sucks for me because I hate my glasses with passion. I got a new desk set up. That's the most exciting thing. I got a desk, an actual chair to sit in.
It's like a new office too.
headrest.
Wow, it looks great.
It is. Great. My eldest daughter moved out. That was fun. She's 19.
Wow.
I got a new car too, so
All right.
I
Lots of
don't have
good
anything
stuff
super
then.
exciting. There is one thing that's really exciting is I did get some props. Like I got this little pad, the first aid themed pad,
Nice.
and then I got a whole med kit prop. I won't pull it out because it's kind of put away, but it's so like if I ever get to a con, I'll be able to play science doctor medical.
Ladies and gentlemen, playing doctor.
I'm a doctor. Don't
Hey,
worry,
wait a
I'm a
minute.
doctor.
Dr. Susan Gruner has a med kit, though. She just showed us her med kit.
Yeah.
The science. I think
The science
yeah,
one.
Science tricorder. Yep. I love it. The
Yeah.
one Heather got is really, really cool.
Ooh.
Dr. Gruner, is that a dress or a shirt?
It's a dress.
That is Crazy Pants.
No, she said it's a dress.
Homer, a dress.
Oh, sorry.
Oh.
That is Crazy Dress.
There you go.
Star Trek
There you
cats.
go.
Very nice.
Oh,
Aw.
Wow.
awesome.
I have the cat skirt.
Are those cats?
Yeah, I have the skirt too.
Yeah.
Hang on.
There's
I'll
the
spot.
stickers.
Stay
There's
up. I'll
Q.
spotlight it for you, Cirroc. Check it out.
Wow.
Yeah.
Q Cat.
I love
Star
the
Trek
cat.
There's a Horgon too.
Oregon Cat. And
Fantastic.
I don't know what.
Majority, yeah.
Cat.
That's awesome.
There's a there's
They
a
make a
I
terrible
saw one
joke
with the
in
bat
there.
lip.
Was-
Did you see
Is that
that?
the Sherlock Holmes cat?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's dedication.
So next, trying to look down and be inconspicuous. Cat R King, ladies and gentlemen. What's new with you?
Oh, what's new with me? Well, I started a podcast for like a little bit of a crossover between science fiction and horror, and we started doing that a little while ago. So our goal is just to meet as many other sci-fi and horror podcast crews as we possibly can, and then play games with each other.
What's it called?
Like, it's called Stardate Today.
Mhm.
Stardate Today. And so basically it started up during the pandemic, and I was doing these little videos on TikTok, and then I decided, I needed to do something else. And then Ryan was like, why don't you do your own podcast? And so I was like, okay, I'll do that. So I started doing this, and we've been raising money for kids through charitable game playing through Microsoft Rewards. And then aside from that, I've been writing and doing music, and my script is in its quarterfinals for a couple of competitions. And so I'm really excited for that. And other than that, that's been keeping me busy, just writing and focusing on getting my pilot script going.
Wow.
And I would just like to add that it is a great script because I've read it.
Thank you.
So it's gonna
Thanks for saying that.
if she can get the financing to get it, we'll get the production going. It's gonna be great. So.
But then she needs some great actors attached. Do we know of any, Melissa?
We absolutely do know of one person here who is attached to this project, and it's called Glass Stars, by the way. So if you never heard of it, it's called Glass Stars, and Melissa stars in it. Actually, if we can get the funding off the ground, Miss Melissa will have one of the starring roles in the project, and she's going to be phenomenal. I have every bit of faith in her.
Awesome.
So that's it. That's really it.
Melissa, don't be shy. Did you
There's
also
a part
read
for
the
you
script?
too, Cirroc.
I did. I did. It's a really great read. It's interesting, and I'm really excited about it. The role of Lily, with who I will be embodying, is a really dynamic character. So she'll be fun to explore.
Kat,
dive into.
I know we're not allowed to do this, but if there's any way that you're going to do one more pass in like editing or retouching that script, can you give Lily a line where she threatens something like, or I'm going to start pushing buttons?
I guess we could put something like that,
Episode
but then that
2.
would take away from First Contact Lily, and then I wouldn't want to take away from that First Contact Lily.
That's such a good line.
Special kind of Lily. Such
We
a
could
good
put in
line.
episode
But she
2
does.
though.
She does. Lily does have some lines that are like, get out of my way. She kind of has to take control of the situation and in the heat of the moment, and she has to sort of pull it all together to get everybody onto the ship. But other than that, yeah, she gets her own lines, I think, that speak for who she is.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Throughout the piece.
there's a lot of strength to her. So yeah, there's
Definitely.
it'll be
Definitely.
fun.
A lot of strength to Melissa too, we all know.
Oh yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I had to have Melissa. I was like, let me see if Melissa would do me the honor of reading this. And then she said she was interested, and I was like, oh, over the moon. So, and we're off to the races with it. I'm so glad that it's getting some love in competition already. And even if it doesn't go that far, at least people are seeing it and loving the story. And I think that's all that really matters, right?
Mhm.
And quarterfinals is pretty great. So
so far.
Yeah, that's out of thousands and thousands and thousands of scripts. They said it was record shattering the amount of scripts that were submitted to this particular competition. So I feel grateful just to get the quarterfinal laurels is amazing, and anything beyond that would just be the thrill of my life to even get beyond that. So
is it still like
really
ongoing?
hope it works out.
yeah, still ongoing. Semifinals will be announced on the 25th of June. So we have about a week left to go to find out whether or not we advance. And then there are several other competitions. So over the course of the year, we'll find, fingers crossed, there's lots of different festivals out there that the script is in. So we'll see what happens.
Awesome. Now, speaking of thrills of our lives, Mohamed, what have you been up to lately? What's new besides, obviously summer vacation?
Most recently here, we're taking a couple of days with the kids and hanging out on the beach. So that's been great. Besides that, work's just progressing, but kind of at a lighter level, which is nice. But Trek-wise things, I'm preparing some talks for the Las Vegas convention, so I'm pretty excited about that.
Oh, yeah.
I have one fairly new talk and one new spin that I've emailed them and asked them if I can do something like that. And I won't say what it is here until they approve it, but fingers crossed I can do that. Besides that, just launching more videos on my BioTrekkie Explains channel. I just launched one just recently on genetic drift using Deep Space Nine's Children of Time.
Cool. Yes, I watched that.
Me too.
Yeah, love that. Love that episode. Sad ending, but great episode.
Yeah.
Well, Cirroc, that's all of our old buddies back in here and reviving. Well, just for this one episode, and then bye.
You just chop liver again. Never to be mentioned again.
Reality.
Hey, happy to be here. Even
oh no, John's gone.
Chased John away with that one, huh?
Oh no.
No, but we really appreciate you guys coming back to say hello for a while and catching up with us. So let's go around and let's just talk about, if you have any memories of this, what your favorite moment on any free-for-all was ever.
So hard to pick one.
Oh, what, Heather? You want to go first? Okay.
I did not say that.
As always. Go for it, Heather.
I can't. They all blend together. I just you know what? Okay, so this is the most embarrassing, but probably the most memorable, is when you guys are cracking up.
Mike.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
He just wanted to bring that up. That's
Yeah, he
Ryan,
just wanted to say it.
Wanted to get to it. Just cut to the chase. You wanted to talk about the farting Mike episode.
Cirroc, you get
he
me.
He actually messaged me and asked me to mention that. He's like, "This is the question." It's because I remember Aaron's laughing and Ryan is laughing his off like he's 12-year-old. And I just remember Aaron, he's like, "Stop it," and he's like cracking up. And then Aaron's like, "Come on, man, be mature." And over there, and Ryan's like just laughing. And I think at one point Ryan covered his face because he was laughing so hard. He was almost crying.
I was crying.
So
Good times.
it was not fun for me, but definitely most memorable.
It was very fun for us, though.
It was so fun for them.
It was.
Crying too. Aaron was crying too.
Me too. I enjoyed that.
Yeah. Good time.
Good times.
Thank you for that, Heather. Thanks for bringing that up, because I would have just kept asking until you said that.
You were going to bring it up anyway.
What about you, Homer? Do you have a favorite free-for-all moment or most memorable?
There are a bunch. I'm just going to choose one amongst them. And I think it's, I had a picture behind me and Aaron Asnog had extended his middle finger and I moved out of the way and Cirroc got to see it. And so it was the continuation of the middle finger game.
Oh my God. Yeah,
Classic.
you got me on that.
Yeah.
Classic.
You got me on that.
Very good.
But there have been so many great great moments, but that's the one that sticks out at this moment for me. Sticks out. Did you get that? So it's like, anyway, yeah.
Killing me.
Congratulations. Explain the joke.
Okay, I'm gonna mute myself.
Rubbing
now.
off, Ryan. It's Ryan. It's rubbing off on everyone.
These are the East Coasters. These East Coasters, they do weird things with jokes. I don't really get them. Darlena, welcome.
Hi.
You've had a couple separate stints doing our free-for-alls. Do you happen to have a favorite or most memorable moment?
Your birthday was awesome. That was an awesome free-for-all. I haven't been to many. They all have been awesome, but that one was really special. I really like your birthday one. But yeah, I'm still in awe that I'm even here. So just ignore me because I'm like,
we'll never ignore you.
Never.
I don't really have, I'm still in awe. So I have to do these more often, and then I can probably say I have like a favorite one here or there. But no, I've just been enjoying myself. So yeah.
Thanks for the birthday fund, by the way. That you guys really made it special. It was a 2 or 3 weeks ago. We did a free for all, and these wacky kids kind of surprised us by doing silly things and having silly Ryan pictures behind them. And TJ basically said, "Shut up, Ryan. We're taking over. Whatever you had planned for today is not going to happen. So you just sit back and enjoy." And so I did, and we did. And thanks, Darlena. That's cool.
It's Jeffrey.
Oh my God.
And there's Jeffrey still.
The balloons are still good.
The llama that never
still
died.
good.
Yeah, it's still good. That's good.
He's
It's
actually
so good.
refilling it. You know, he's blowing air into it.
Is his name really Jeffrey? The llama?
Like
the Toys R Us
named him
giraffe
/
/ llama?
I didn't know that the Toys R Us thing was named Jeffrey. Like
R.I.P. Jeffrey.
Yeah,
it was the best name I could come up with in the state of inebriation I was in.
Fair enough.
Missouri.
Fair enough.
Well, John Rhino Tufarella out in Fiji somewhere. Do you have a favorite or most?
I'm down in North Carolina. I'm down the strip here, remember?
Oh, yeah.
We went over this.
Oh, no.
I'm Mohamed.
You were there, Ryan. Did you forget?
Ryan forgot.
Yes.
Yeah. Memory is short.
I don't know if I can really pick out a specific occurrence other than I'd say the first one that I joined into was the launching point for many of the friendships and getting to know everyone here and many more that aren't here with us, like Rex and several other people that we've become a very, very close-knit family. And that was something that without you guys and Aaron, that wouldn't have happened.
I remember the very first time you were on. We were so interested by your shop. You're like, you're calling from a comic shop, a toys and comic shop. And we're just, I think even Aaron was probably the most excited about it. He's like, show us around and what's going on. And you gave us a nice little tour.
I'll have to get you guys some updated pictures. We've got a new area in the store because we had all that damage prior to COVID that they redid, like the whole back walk around storage area that we had. So now it's all opened up and like sales space. So right now it is comic books and Star Trek. Star Trek is just lining the walls and the shelves.
Nice.
Nice. Very cool. Who's next? Oh, goody. Eve England, who's up at it's almost 1 a.m. for her.
Yeah.
And she's always such a trooper. We love her. Eve, do you have a favorite moment or most memorable moment in any free-for-all as Mohamed gives you hearts and love?
I mean, I think the last sort of year has just been a highlight of my week. Just coming on the free-for-alls generally, it's just been so much fun. But I think if I had to pick the most memorable, it would probably be the surprise Alexander Siddig one at Christmas time. or just after Christmas, and I was talking to him about gingerbread. So I think it's one of the most surreal sort of events of my life, just talking to somebody about gingerbread and rugby, and it was amazing. So that was really good fun. So I think if I had to pick one, I would pick that one, but they've all been so much fun, and like I said, there's just too many to account, I think.
Did you get a sunburn?
Yeah, I am quite sunburned.
Your arms are very sunburnt right now.
Gingerbread and rugby.
It's the best combination.
Was that right after you made the Discovery Crew?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember that.
I've actually I went in because we haven't had anybody over for a while. We haven't been into our dining room since Christmas, and it's still there actually. So it's
Have
still,
you eaten anybody?
They're all still there, and one of the nacelles is broken off. But apart from that,
Well, they're detached now anyway, so.
Yeah, exactly. So it's.
Do you guys know who Batman would eat first? Grudge. So if anybody's following along on the internet right now, they'll get that joke. But if you're not, then you won't. And you might not anyway, because it wasn't that great.
Okay,
Somebody might have.
Let's take a poll. Did anybody but Ryan get that joke?
I think Mohamed did.
I slightly did.
No.
I'm not positive, but I think so.
You got a little bit of that.
West Coast humor.
Acquired taste.
All right. Everybody
dang.
in the live chat right now or in the comments below, if I say that Batman is going to eat the Grudge gingerbread cookie first, if you get the jokes, just say yes. Don't explain it. Just say that you do get it, and we'll all move on happily. Let's move on happily. Kat, do you have a favorite or most memorable moment?
I think for me, it'll always be the last one we had with Aaron. There's like nothing else to say. That was it for me, you know, never knowing that we were gonna have another one, but appreciating it all the same, and appreciating him, and just letting it be, you know, just letting the show be fun and silly, and that's my favorite, I guess.
You know, I was going to mention this later, but I'll just mention it right now. What was so cool about Aaron on the free-for-alls is that he always took such a genuine interest in all of you guys. Like, he really wanted to know what's going on in your life. What's your daughter's name? What are you having for dinner? What's your favorite hobby? Like, he had a genuine interest. And I know it's true because when I'm saying something that's true, Melissa tilts her head this way. And she's doing that right now.
It's so true. It's very, very true. He was very interested in everyone in this community, this beautiful, beautiful community. So yeah, it's very true.
Yeah. And he loved you, Kat, by the way. He talked very highly of you. I remember when we were first going to bring on the Trek techs, and Aaron's like, "Oh, you got to meet Kat. She's so cool. You got to meet her." You know, and we're like, "Okay, we'll meet Kat."
Okay, Aaron was so good to me, and I'll just never forget him.
Yeah. He made those free-for-alls so much fun.
You did.
So
and thank you for letting me be a part of it, you know.
Thanks for coming back. Now, Dr. Susan V. Gruner, and she taught us that you don't have to say PhD afterwards. If you say doctor and then you say PhD, it just becomes redundant. Do you have
redundant?
Good to know.
Sue, do you have a favorite moment or?
Well, all of them are my favorites, but the one where I laughed the hardest was right before the free-for-all when you had the Janeway T-shirt up and coming t-shirt for you. I haven't laughed that hard since before in quite a while.
You almost just made Eve fall out of her seat just now.
I think Eve, were you here? Were you there that night? I don't think you were.
You were definitely talking about it on one of them, which I was on, but I'm not sure if that was the same one or whether that was an earlier one, and then we were laughing about it again afterwards.
Yeah, we were laughing so hard.
It doesn't stop being funny.
Good times.
Yes.
Good stuff.
Yeah, that's a lot of laughter. For all the most appropriate reasons. Mohamed, do you have a favorite or most memorable moment?
It's gonna be pretty random. It's gonna seem like the one I quote the most, which I guess we would call the most favorite, most memorable, is when we started talking about our favorite Smurfs episodes. It was just a random tangent in one episode. I remember you, Ryan. You had the best impression of Jokey Smurf.
Yeah.
With that, I got a surprise. I've quoted that so many times. And,
Yes.
and mentioned how good your impression is of Jokey. But I will say, like, coming up, as we're getting, yeah, oh, that was good too. As we're getting close to STLV, and this has come up recently because my friend Jen, who went with me to the last STLV back when it's called STLV, she asked me just recently, "What are you most looking forward to there?" She's like, "Looking forward to like meeting Anthony Rapp or stuff." I was like, honestly, Seventh Rule people. That's I'm looking forward to that more than any of the events. I'm looking forward to that more than any of the talks. Looking forward to that more than any of the actors, with the exception of Cirroc, who's both. But you know, that's I mean, shows how much this community means to me. So thank you.
Oh man.
Yes.
I definitely feel the same way. Yeah. Cirroc?
Yeah, man, that's what I feel. That's what to me, it's like it's just like the community that we have and just the friendships, and it's not really any one specific thing. To me, it's like it's even like when we look back on these episodes, I don't remember the lines. I don't remember what the script and the story was about. I just remember like working with the people and having a good time and you know and us having this camaraderie and building this friendship together, and to me that's like the overall arching thing that matters the most to me, is that we have a group of people that we can be honest with, open with, joke about, inside joke about, and just those moments, and you just build up on those after time. It's like this is your extended family, and that's really how I feel about you guys. I feel like you guys are my extended family.
Nice.
It's so funny since most of us haven't even met each other in person, but like we feel so close nonetheless. It's really great.
Dude, I can't wait. We're gonna see a lot of you at Star Trek Las Vegas, and it's gonna be awesome. I just got to actually meet in person the people with whom I've been working on the Voyager documentary. We've been working together for like 6 months, but it's all been through phone and email and Zooms. But I'm telling you, when we see each other, like us here, it's not going to feel like it's the first time. You know, it's going to be like we're just been hanging out for years, you know. Sorry, Sue, we're not going to talk about this anymore. Sue and Eve can't go, and I feel terrible because
I won't be there either.
I won't be there this year either. It's just
I'll see. Oh, okay. Well, I'll see you there then.
Wait, I do hope to go next year.
Yeah, next year.
Everybody here is going next year.
Sure.
TJ Hushmanzada out in Cincinnati. Do you have a favorite or most memorable moment on a free-for-all?
Deep cut. Hushmanzada. Deep cut.
Cirroc mentioned him last time, I think.
Oh, let's see. You know me, I always cheat. So obviously I'm gonna say your birthday one was pretty fun. But Darlena already took that one. So I remember my first one. The very first one I signed on, I think was for Past Tense, which is probably one of my favorite DS9 two-parters. It's between that and the Maquis, between which one is the top favorite. But I think in that episode of our Stephen Bear stayed on with us, and we talked about like I think that was the question, like, what was your favorite two-parter? And like from the very beginning, I cheated. I think I listed like 3 or 4 of those things because those are some of my favorite DS9 episodes, and I was like blown away getting to talk to the guy that made it all happen. So that was pretty memorable for me. Also, since it was the first one, I was nervous. I didn't know what to expect. Like I didn't even know when we were recording when we first started. Like when I first signed on, like, are we recording now? Or so yeah, that one's pretty memorable for me. But I remember so many more from before that, before I even was able to participate myself, listening. Just so much fun. Like it's literally what made me be here now. So I'm grateful that I met Homer when I did and was reintroduced to the show so that I could be here today.
Homer coming through in the clutch again.
So it's Homer's fault, is what you're saying.
Yes.
It's my fault that TJ and I both were on the same Star Trek cruise.
And in the same hotel before.
Yeah,
cool.
And I talked up the 7th rule.
He really
Thank you,
did.
Homer.
So I guess, yeah, if you want to talk about memorable, I think I was driving in my car about a month later and heard him call in from the cruise. And I was like, holy crap. He did that while we were like out there together.
Yeah, he gave us a tour that day, in fact.
Yeah.
Walked us around.
That was a lesson in how to use your phone and not rely on power save mode. And I learned so much walking around that day.
Yeah. Didn't Homer talk about his whiteboard of like, you know?
I started there. So
Events,
I started,
yes.
I started
And
from
then you
my
cut
cabin and then I went from there looking for reception and then I lost power. It was a great time. Great time.
I'm gonna try that on the cruise.
Yeah.
Try that. Yeah.
Good. I support you in that.
I'm gonna try it.
You know, when Homer's packing his luggage, he uses his whiteboard to check off everything, and then he just puts the whiteboard on top. That's.
I don't do that, but I am still using the whiteboard. The whiteboard is still going on. It's on the fridge now. Yeah.
So we have 247 days before the next cruise. Not that I'm counting.
List now.
They announced Mary Chiefo today.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah.
We do love
Who
her.
here is going on the cruise? Who's here going on the cruise next year?
Melissa.
It's gonna be TJ. It's gonna be. Is Melissa going?
Mohamed's going.
I'm there.
Okay.
I would love to.
Where's the cruise going to?
It's taking off from Orlando. I know it's going to St. Martin, and then
the French one. Yeah.
No, it's the Dutch side. That's where the ships go. So it's the AA, and then the RT.
That was the one that spelled funny as well. I know.
Tell you what,
Homer.
Homer,
Bahamas stop too.
Homer, you get a big enough suitcase,
Yeah.
I'll go on the cruise. Just put me in it.
I don't check bags,
Get a
so
really, really big suitcase though.
okay, all right. We'll try to make it work.
Make it work. Make it work, people.
And a back belt.
Yeah, no, that was I can't say that was my most fun free for all because that was stressful as all get out. Walking around and trying to get reception and then trying to explain what was going on and then trying to actually give people a view of what's going on, but also kind of like being engaged as well. And I have not gone back to see that because I'm sure it'd be painful for me.
The funny thing is I never saw it. I only listened to it.
It's probably a good choice.
Now I'm gonna go
Homer
back
has
and watch
flashbacks. He
I-
has nightmares about
I just
that.
remember walking around. It's like, oh, I can't believe and the Wi-Fi blew. Yeah. Anyway, okay. Next
I was
topic.
envious of you guys on that cruise because you guys got to party with Kenneth Mitchell and you had that big old concert.
Body surf.
That was
Yes.
I really wanted to do
Body
that.
surf, yes.
I would have loved to have been there for that.
As I said before, that rave was the high point of the cruise. And yes, it was a rave.
was
or so they
awesome.
told me.
There's a trade-off
That's
though.
awesome.
If you come on the cruise, you're gonna run into those people that run around like that. What is that? The justice people? With the-
Oh yeah. So that's That's the people with the scanty clothes, and it's where Crusher fell into the flower situation, and all of a sudden, big problem.
Yeah, you're gonna see that, and you're gonna groan.
Yeah, they're doing their thing
now, and I've never seen it. I'm just,
I say it's all about Idic.
Yeah,
they had a cosplay group do that in Vegas a few years ago. It was a cosplay group that did them, and they were just running all over the place. And if you wanted to take the pictures, you had to run after them, and it was crazy.
Ryan T. Husk started. Yeah. That's
there it goes. That's an actual image.
That's it. But people who are running around on the cruise may not be quite so fit.
Yeah, you think? Oh my God.
Think about it.
Now you had to put that in my head too.
All right, that's enough, Ryan. That's enough.
Ryan, cut.
Jeez. We don't need
That's the end of the episode. Bye.
You guys mentioned it. Cirroc's like, will you guys please stop mentioning that episode? Every time it's mentioned, I bring it up.
Nope, every chance I get.
Definitely needs many gym shots before that one, right?
Yeah, I gotta get to the gym a lot if I ever put on a diaper like that and run around.
Cirroc, we got about a month or two. Are you down or what for Star Trek?
I'm not
start the regimen.
Showing any camel toe. Thank you very much.
Good choice.
No Jekyll toe. All right.
No.
So I have not to bring things down too much, but I have a question about the episode.
Well, let's finish going around the table then.
And sorry. Are we still going around? Okay, sorry.
Well, speaking of high points, yes, it's Melissa's turn to tell us her favorite and or most memorable free-for-all moment while I dried my laughter tears.
There's so many. It's hard to pick one. Gosh, yeah, your birthday one was already very memorable and special, but Darlena did already take that answer. And this one was very memorable.
Oh, the garbage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to forget that one.
Phone Homer.
But there's so many memorable ones. It's hard to pick one. So I'm not going to pick one because the free-for-all is memorable every single time. So and special every single time.
Here.
Because of the people who are here. So
let it be known that the first lady of the seventh rule makes her own rules. No. Well, we love having you every time, always making it so much better, that's for sure.
What about you, Ryan? You got one?
Oh, I didn't.
Ryan on the spot.
I hadn't even thought of it. I was just going to go to you, Cirroc. I hadn't even come up with anything. I haven't prepared. Can you go so I have a chance to think of something?
No, don't let him prepare. Make him be on the spot.
All right, here we go. Let me think. Yeah, the truth is, and this is what I was thinking earlier, is that honestly, just every one of them with Aaron, because of the fact that he took such an interest in everybody, and it was just kind of fun to watch him go. It was fun to watch his brain work. It was fun to see him get completely sidetracked just so he could really hammer about that one thing that he thought was so interesting about somebody, and it was so fun, and watching him razz people and then be like, I'm just kidding, I love you, and then razz them again. I'm just kidding, and then razz them again. So those were always, those were just the best. We have a lot of fun now, but those were the best for that reason. And thanks for the birthday one. The birthday one was actually a ton of fun, guys. Didn't expect that, and it made my birthday special and made it memorable. So that was a great time. Thank you for that. And now, Cirroc, I bought you some time. Do you have a favorite or most memorable free-for-all moment.
I'm gonna have to piggyback on what you said, that, you know, really they're all special to me. It's about us getting together and talking and laughing and sharing laughs and sharing ideas. That's the most important thing for me. But when it comes to Aaron, you know, he's not here. And when he was here, he was just the guy that made things so much more special and just took us to the astronomical level. And I remember him really defending Michael Chiklis so hard in one of our episodes.
In one of our episodes?
And multiple, when it first started, and he had to, you know, really hit the Michael Chiklis nail on the head way too hard. That was really a memorable episode for me. But all throughout, it's been about just meeting everybody and just getting to build this relationship, this friendship, this camaraderie. I feel like when you do stuff, I don't know, you play team sports, or if you're in the military, or there's certain things when you co-workers, when you have certain chemistry with your co-workers, there's certain things that allow you to bond in other ways where you just don't get that kind of a chance. And I feel like this is one of those things where these bonds have meant so much to me, have meant so much to us, but it's meant so much to me in so many ways. Pick me ups when you're down, and knowing that there's people that, you know, are gonna brighten up your day and laugh with you and share kind of their own life experience or their perspective on things, and you get to have these intelligent conversations and these great debates and explore these ideas and see if that other people recognize and see the same things that you see. Like, I saw that. Did you see that? Or did you see it that way? And I feel like those kinds of things matter to all of us, and to me especially, because I feel like we have such a family here and the friendship. And I mean, there would be none of us that would run into each other on the street and not like be excited to see each other and be giving out big hugs. So I feel like, you know, that's the real value of what we're doing here, is that we're building bonds that are like permanent.
Totally. Well, maybe not Mohamed and Homer. I think they would walk by each other and not say anything. But
we have all learned that Ryan is definitely a juvenile. That's the one lesson that we can take away from everything.
Speaking of which, I actually remembered my favorite free-for-all moment. Number 2 was obviously Heather's farting mic, just because I've watched it over and over again, and watching Aaron laugh and me laugh, and just watching Aaron, when Aaron would try to fight the laughter, but then you could see his eyes turn to me and see me. So he'd be like this, and he'd go like this, and then he'd lose it. And I'm like, yes. But really the best one was when we all dressed up in those justice outfits, you know, the TNG justice outfits that we're talking about here.
I don't know what you're talking about. Could you show us?
No idea.
Yeah, when we all, that was my favorite. Oh wait, no wait, that hasn't happened yet.
I was
just looking through the orb of prophecy. Sorry, that's coming up soon, guys. Stay tuned, it's gonna happen.
For Vegas.
Oh God.
Anyway,
get ready for Vegas.
To finish us off, Homer, what do you got about this episode?
Well, getting back to justice momentarily, I did start going to the gym today, but it may take me several months to be able to be comfortable. No, I'll never be comfortable wearing that outfit. I was watching the episode this afternoon, and I thought, is this the saddest Jake Sisko look that I've ever seen? Because he was very, very sad, and he felt, and he conveyed to me that he had lost his father, or he thought that he had lost his father. And I just wanted to know if Cirroc had anything he would like to say about this episode and that particular moment. And if you covered it before, I apologize.
I didn't. No.
No, I actually thought about that too when you were. I almost felt like they recycled the scene from The Visitor and used it in this scene. I was like, because the camera shot was very similar. Sisko's laying on the bed, and Jake kind of walks up on him, and it was almost, it reminded me of The Visitor when I was losing my dad for that last time. So yeah, it is probably the saddest. And it also reminded me of the kind of tragedy that Jake has experienced a lot. Like he's really been in these very traumatic and / tragic situations, and having to decide whether his dad lives or die in this episode was pretty. It's a lot of weight for anybody to carry, let alone a kid who's like 18 years old, 17 years old. So yeah, I did feel like that. I'm glad you pointed that out, Homer. I thought it was a little bit of a super sad moment there for Jake, and he wasn't even able to be excited that he saved his dad's life. We did talk about this a little bit, but when his dad comes in at the end to for the party, the welcome home Cassidy party, Jake's still not like rushing up to him and giving him a hug and saying, "You're alive, you're back, thank God." He's kind of still like, "Am I in the doghouse for going against your wishes and bringing you back out of this state of mind that you were in?" So yeah, it was definitely a sad episode for Jake's point of view.
Yeah, I got that. I mean, it's jambalaya, but it's still taking a while for Jake to kind of figure out, wait, are things back? Am I okay?
Yeah, are we okay? Is this good? Are you cool with that?
Yeah.
But yeah, there were a lot of issues like that were touched upon. We talked about it in the review about how many different things were touched in this episode, that it's hard to put your finger on one specific thing. But yeah, there was a little bit of sadness there with Jake in this episode. Yeah.
The whole prophecy thing was really phenomenal. This may sound weird, but I actually showed this episode to some two friends of mine that were in seminary school, and they really loved it.
Oh, interesting.
We got into a whole little spiritual discussion about that. My favorite part was when he touched a young man and said, "You don't belong here, go home," and the guy just left. It reminded me of when Kira had told Sisko that, I think it was after they was going to choose this other guy to be the emissary, and she was saying how faithful the Bajorans are, that anything the emissary says, they try to do. So when he touched that young man's shoulder and told him, "You don't belong here, go home," I surmised that when he went home, his life just turned around for the better, as opposed to if he had stayed on the station. So it's pretty interesting, because my friends in seminary was, they got all spiritual, and it's like, if you listen to the voice of reason from high above, you may find something better in life than what you think you're living, something that was pretty good. I don't know what was in their mind when they wrote the Rapture, but it was just, that's an awesome episode. And
Faith.
To you, TJ, my favorite, yes, Faith, exactly. My favorite two-parter is Way of the Warrior.
Yeah.
I had to put that in, TJ.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yes.
All right.
Fight scene with Kira. Yes.
Well, we're gonna have to run now. Personally, I have never taken it that well when somebody said, "You don't belong here, go home." So props to that guy for being the bigger man.
Just sincere.
But we do want to, thank you guys very much, John, Heather, Kat, and Mohamed, for coming back and saying hello and joining in the fun. We really appreciate you. We appreciated all the fun we had before and the fun we had today.
Thanks for calling us back.
Yeah.
We'll have more fun going forward.
And also a very special thanks, of course, to Homer, Darlena, Eve, where it's like 4 a.m. right now, TJ Jackson-Bey out in Missouri with Jeffrey, Dr. Sue Gruner, Melissa Longo. Cirroc, I think we've done a lot of good here. We had a lot of fun, and we laughed a lot. So it's another week.
Yes.
Yep. Happy anniversary, everybody. I mean, we're all in it together. Couldn't have done it without all of you. And, love you guys.
Yeah. lots of love between us all, except for Mohamed and Homer, we already covered. So we'll see y'all again real soon.
You guys too.
Thanks very much, everybody. I love that Cirroc is doing reactions nowadays. It just really, I mean, our production value is through the roof right now. We'll see y'all again.
And by the way, TJ, when you're blowing up that llama, don't blow it from that exact section anymore, please. Yeah. It didn't look right.
You know what? I didn't know if I would get called out for that. Like, I realized it in the moment. I'm like, oh, nobody called me out.
We ended this about 20 seconds too late. Thank you all very much. And always remember the 7th rule.